everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jackie and today I'm here for Vlogmas day 25, and for today's video, the final day of Vlogmas, which mostly turned into Vlogcember because my videos went up on different days. But anyways, we'll not talk about that. I figured today I would talk about my most anticipated releases for 2020, which, holy cow, it's weird to say that. I can't believe it is already the end of 2019. It's the beginning of the new decade. Like, where did time go? I've said that in like every single video this year, but it's true. I don't know where time went. And honestly, the past couple of years, I'd say mostly in like 2018 and 2019, it's been a pretty quiet couple of years for like my most anticipated releases of the years. Like, especially in 2019, I feel like it was a very, very quiet year for releases that I was like really, really looking forward to. And it's going to be kind of the same way with 2020. There's like not like a big book that everybody's looking forward to in 2020 that's like really, really popular. It's on everybody's list. Like, since big name series like Throne of Glass and ACOTAR and I don't know, the Shadowhunter books, a lot of those series have concluded the past couple of years. I feel like now there's like no sequels that everybody's looking forward to. Am I making any sense? I don't know. But with that said, there is still a lot of books I can't wait to read in 2020. So while moving on any further, let's jump right in and get started. The first book that I can't wait to read in the year of 2020 is coming out on January 7th, and that is Jane Anonymous by Lori Ferris Dillers. I did get an arc of this book from the publisher, so thank you so much to Wednesday Books for sending me a copy. But this is one that I didn't even know was coming out until literally like the very beginning of December, end of November. I've read multiple books by this author in the past. I read a lot of her books back when I was like in my freshman year of high school. I was addicted to them. I loved her Blue is for Nightmares series. I have since unhauled my copies, but I loved them. And there was quite a few other books that I read by her that I loved. And she's also a local author to me. So this one is kind of different than her normal books. She kind of writes more on the magical realism side. This is more of a contemporary with a suspense element, where this girl she has just been released from her kidnapper, I believe. And she's just kind of trying to rebuild her life afterwards. And that's kind of all I know. I haven't heard like great things about it, but I haven't heard terrible things about it. Some people love it, some people hate it. It's kind of like in the middle. And I just think, though I don't really read a ton of books like this, I think I'm gonna really like it. I know I love her writing style since I've read so many of her books, so I'm excited to dive into this one. Coming out on February 4th, we have The Stars We Steal by Alexa Dunn. So this is an author I have read from in the past. I read her debut novel, which is called Brightly Burning. That came out in early 2018, I want to say. I had an arc as that as well. I will link my review up on the screen for you guys. But I loved her debut novel. That was a retelling of Jane Eyre. This is being compared as Jane Austen meets The Bachelor, and that's all I know. So it's some sort of sci-fi retelling, which again, I loved her debut novel, so I feel like I'm gonna really love this one as well. I have another arc, and this one's coming out on February 11th, and that is The Only Child by Maya Sao. I hope I said this author's name correctly. I'm so sorry if I didn't. But yes, this is coming out in February, and this one I didn't know much about going in either. My friend Sarah over at Sarah's Nightstand had talked about this. She got an arc as well, and she like made me want to pick it up because it sounds right up my alley. This is a translated novel. It's being translated from Korean to English, and it is following a main character who is a journalist, and she gets the opportunity to interview one of the most infamous serial killers in Korea. And then on the same day, her husband's child from a previous marriage shows up on her doorstep very unexpectedly, and there's weird events surrounding that. This sounds, again, extremely up my alley. I'm very interested in stuff about serial killers, fun fact about me. So I think that's going to be really interesting. And then whatever's going on with the child sounds really interesting. So I'm excited to pick this one up. The House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, book 1 in the Crescent City series. And this is probably my most anticipated release of 2020 because Sarah J. Maas is my favorite author of all time. And this is a new book from her that isn't connected to ACOTAR or Throne of Glass at all. It has a very similar premise, but I don't think it's actually a retelling like the other two series were. And this does have to do with a half human, I believe, and that's all I know. Again, Sarah J. Maas is my favorite author of all time. I'm going to read anything she writes, so cannot wait to dive into this one. And House of Earth and Blood releases on March 3rd. Next, also releasing on March 3rd, we have Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu. So Marie Lu is another autobiography author for me. I have read both the Legend series as well as Warcross, both by her. I love those series with all my heart, and this is her newest book. I think it's actually a standalone, if I'm not wrong on that. And this is kind of different than her other two series. Those were more sci-fi / dystopian. This one is, I think, more on the fantasy element, if not historical fiction. It follows Mozart's sister. That's all I know, and all I need to know. Next, we have By the Book by Amanda Sell. This comes out on May 12th. And this is very different than I normally read because this is adult romance. And it is following a character who is a bookworm, and she is like really into classic novels, and she decides to make this like manifesto of like tropes to avoid, I guess you could say, in an actual man, and that's all I know. It sounds so cute. Again, adult romance is not typically my thing, but this sounds right up my alley. Next, we also have a book that's releasing on May 12th, and that is Girl Serpent Thorn by Melissa Barchadost. This is by the author of Girls of Snow and Glass. I want to say that's the title, something along those lines, which is a Snow White retelling, and this is actually an original fairy tale. And all I know about it is that the main character has the power to kill or poison by just touching people. And for some reason, it reminds me a lot of Shatter Me, which I never read, but I know the basic premise of. And for some reason, this is just grabbed my attention. I cannot wait to dive in. I did want to read her debut novel. I never got around to it, but we'll see about this one. Next, we have I Kissed Alice by Anna Birch, and this is coming out on May 26th. And this is another romance novel, and this is about two characters in like a hate to love female romance, and they have some sort of connection between fan fiction, which sign me up. As someone who used to write fan fiction all the time, I love anything that has to do with it, and I want to read more LGBTQ plus romances as well, so cannot wait for this one. For my most anticipated releases of 2020, we have The Court of Miracles by Kester Grant, and this is coming out on June 2nd. This is a fantasy novel. I think it's a high fantasy, and it is a retelling of Les Mis, and there's also some sort of other element I can't remember off the top of my head. But I have never read Les Mis, to be honest. I've never seen the play, but I know kind of the basic premise of this, and this one, it just sounds so interesting. It is a story that's, again, fantasy. It has a failed French Revolution, and that's all I need to know. Sounds great. Everything for today's video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to give a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Be sure to let me know in the comments down below what you guys are looking forward to reading in 2020, as I would love to know. And as always, all my social media links are linked down below for you guys to check out if you'd like to follow me on any of those. And all being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you soon for another video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye!